Imagine this feeling.
Yeah.
You've poured a decade of your life into a company. I mean, building projects from scratch, onboarding clients yourself.
Yeah.
And then some new exec, they just look you dead in the eye and say, I'm sorry, who are you again?
Ugh. Yeah, that's brutal.
It's like a bullet just tearing clean through 10 years of loyalty. And it really paints a picture, doesn't it? This corporate world, 40-story glass walls, fancy coffee.
Oat milk in the break room.
Right. But underneath, venom in the boardroom smiles.
It is a really striking image. That dismissal, that betrayal, it cuts deep. It's more than just a professional slight. It really hits your identity, doesn't it? Especially when you've invested so much.
Absolutely.
But what's fascinating, truly fascinating, is how some people navigate that kind of hit. They don't just survive it. They actually redefine their success entirely.
And that is exactly what we're doing in this deep dive for you today. We are pulling back the curtain on this incredible story. It's about Laura Kaplan. She was a senior client strategist who faced that exact kind of corporate betrayal.
Oh.
And she came out not just thriving, but arguably, way more powerful than before.
Right. And our mission here is to really dissect her journey. We're drawing directly from her accounts, her story, to figure out the specific strategies she used, the mindset shifts.
Yeah.
We're hunting for those, those aha moments, practical wisdom that you can actually use. How do you gain leverage? Build that unshakable network. How do you turn what looks like a complete downfall
Career ending, yeah.
into a massive opportunity? So, yeah, get ready. This goes beyond the usual advice, I think.
Okay, let's dig in.
Huh?
It starts with Laura Kaplan, senior client strategist at Calerman Strategic. 10 years. A decade.
In a decade.
She was the definition of loyalty, dedication, building projects from the ground up, handling clients herself. And her numbers. They apparently sang soprano.
Love that phrase. And she had this roster of clients, right, who trusted her, family that trusted. It wasn't just about results, though the results were there. It was her bedrock.
And this commitment, it wasn't just 9 to 5. Her crown jewel client, Maria Patel, SVP of Ops at Westville Global, huge account, $80 million.
Massive. And Laura's dedication there was, well, it was intense. We're talking birthday cards for Maria's twins, midnight check-ins. She even rerouted a 6-hour flight once just to be on site.
Wow.
This wasn't just work for her. It was about, as she put it, giving a damn, really caring.
Okay, so picture this established world. Laura's got her system, her trusted clients, and then in walks Bryce.
Bryce, the tech bro prophet.
Mid-30s, hair gel with more hold than substance. That's quite the description.
Isn't it? He arrives spouting all the buzzwords. Radical transparency, fail forward, you know the type.
Oh, yeah. Disrupting consultancy hierarchies.
Exactly. But his actions, totally different. He starts gutting experienced staff like they were, quote, expired inventory.
Ouch.
Holds these daily stand-ups where nothing stood up except his ego. So you can imagine the clash.
So what was the immediate impact on Laura, someone with her experience and standing?
Well, it was insidious, really. Bryce didn't just, change some processes. He started this systematic undermining campaign against her.
How so?
It started small, taking notes in her meetings. Then he started taking over her meetings.
Taking over?
Yeah. And then the big one. He explicitly excluded her from key client sessions like Maria Patel's Q3 planning, Laura's biggest account, and she wasn't invited.
Unbelievable.
It wasn't just, a management style difference. This felt like a deliberate attempt to erase her, to devalue her experience.
And the whole company culture was shifting under her feet. Like quicksand.
Exactly. Suddenly there were restructured workflows, a new performance rubric where, get this, collaboration replaced client satisfaction as the key metric.
Wait, what? How does that even work in consulting?
Right. Suddenly interns are scoring higher than people like Laura who actually bring in the money.
That's madness.
And the disrespect just kept coming. She gets this email about a quick tweak to Laura's outdated model, implying her proven methods needed fixing, needed to be made scalable. She was just, a leaky pipeline, not a person.
So faced with all this escalating aggression.
Yeah.
How does Laura react? Did she march into HR, but shouting?
You'd think so, right? But what's really remarkable is her first move. She didn't cry, didn't storm into HR. No, instead, she embraced this. Sharp, dangerous, quiet.
Okay, intriguing. What does that mean?
It wasn't resignation. It was strategic preparation, an inner shift. She immediately opened a Google Drive folder, title, If This Goes Nuclear.
Smart.
And she started saving everything. Email threads, Slack messages, client testimonials. She even screenshotted Bryce contradicting himself in 3 separate documents.
Wow. Preemptive strike.
You could call it that. More like preemptive data weaponization, turning every single slight, every contradiction into documented leverage, just in case.
And this is where her quiet prep gets really interesting, right? She didn't just save emails.
No, she went further. She re-downloaded her employment contract. And then, crucially, she checked the California Labor Code, specifically about non-compete clauses.
And what did she find out? Was that important?
Important. It was an absolute game changer for her. She found out that California law basically treats non-competes like, well, the quote was, expired yogurt.
Expired yogurt. Unenforceable.
Pretty much, yeah. Especially in her context, this meant Calerman couldn't legally stop her from competing if she left or was pushed out. She was legally free.
That is huge. But it's worth pointing out for you listening, California is kind of unique there, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely critical point. California is a major outlier. Many other states, many other countries have much stricter, much more enforceable non-compete clauses.
Right.
So Laura's freedom here, that was a specific advantage tied to her location. It really underscores how vital it is for anyone, anywhere, to proactively audit your contractual vulnerabilities. Know your specific legal ground.
Okay, so she's got this bombshell knowledge. What's her first move externally? Does she just sit on it?
Nope. She reactivated her personal encrypted Proton mail account. Smart move, keeping it off company servers.
Very smart.
And she started reaching out quietly to old colleagues, the ones who'd been purged by Bryce's vision realignment.
The other expired inventory?
Sadly, yes. People like Rena, the analytics lead Bryce replaced with a dashboard, or Jorge, this onboarding wizard whose visa paperwork just mysteriously got lost.
Katie.
Very. But Laura didn't ask them for anything, not directly. She just sent simple notes. Hey, thinking of you, grab coffee sometime.
Low-key.
Very low-key. But their replies, they were fast, eager. It showed her just how much discontent was already simmering among the people Bryce had pushed out. That network was still there, just displaced.
Okay, so she's shoring up her network. Meanwhile, what's happening with her star client, Maria Patel, the one with the $80 million account? She must have noticed the changes at Calerman.
Oh, she noticed. Maria was getting increasingly fed up with the new direction, all the buzzwords, the scalable synergies, the off-site ideation retreats. It wasn't what she signed up for.
Was there a specific tipping point for Maria?
There was. A big one. During a quarterly review meeting, Bryce interrupted Maria 4 times in just 6 minutes.
Ouch. Bad move.
And then, to top it off, he mispronounced her chief financial officer's name.
Oh, come on.
Maria called Laura later, absolutely furious, said something like, they used to treat us like partners. Now I feel like I'm buying from a vending machine that talks back.
Wow. That's quite the indictment.
Isn't it? And Laura, she saw her opening, but she played it cool. Later that week, she just subtly asked Maria, what if you worked with someone who actually listened, someone focused just on outcomes, real ones?
Smooth. And Maria's response?
Incredible. Maria just looked at her and said, you starting something? If you do, I want a proposal. And get this conversation happened 5 months before Calerman actually fired Laura.
5 months. So Maria was already looking for an exit ramp.
Exactly. It shows the power of those genuine relationships. They act like a redundant client acquisition channel. Maria was ready to jump ship long before Laura was pushed. Laura just provided the lifeboat.
So Laura gets that signal from Maria. She doesn't mess around, does she? Even while still employed at Calerman.
Not for a second. She starts literally sketching org charts on cocktail napkins at midnight, planning her next move.
She brought in advisors, too, right? Legal, financial.
Yes, crucially. She consulted her lawyer, Iris. And Iris gave her some gold standard advice. Start by forming the LLC now. Don't wait for the divorce to buy the new house.
Good analogy.
Right. And Iris added, you're not stealing clients if they walk toward you. That legal framing was vital.
And her accountant.
Her accountant, Ray, advised, make it boutique. Flat structure, lean ops. You want speed, not legacy baggage.
Okay, so acting on that advice, she actually filed the LLC paperwork. While still working there.
She did. Filed it under a deliberately boring placeholder name, Dovetail Solutions, LLC.
Dovetail Solutions. Why was forming that LLC so early? Such a big deal strategically.
Oh, it was incredibly shrewd. First, legally, It created a clear separation between her future venture and Calerman. It protected her from accusations like corporate espionage or using company time and resources.
It's a firewall.
Exactly. Yeah. And second, operationally, it meant she had a legitimate existing company ready to go. When Maria was ready, Dovetail Solutions was already a thing Maria could sign a contract with immediately. No awkward gap where Laura had to scramble to set something up after leaving Calerman. It showed real foresight. Real readiness.
Okay, she's got the LLC, she's got the green light from Maria, she's sketched out the plan, but she holds back.
She does. Even with all that prep, she didn't push Maria, didn't pitch hard, didn't try to sell. She just waited.
Why was that patience so critical? Seems counterintuitive.
Because pushing Maria, especially while still at Calerman, would have looked like poaching. It could have backfired badly. Lauren knew Maria was smart and probably wouldn't respond well to being rushed or pressured. So Laura just kept doing her job, delivering value, being the reliable partner Maria knew, even as Calerman under Bryce continued to implode around her. She let Calerman make the mistakes.
And the payoff for that patience.
It came about 2 weeks before the firing. Maria pulls out her iPad at a lunch meeting, says, "Okay, I'm ready for your idea. Show me what it looks like."
And Lori was prepared.
Oh, yeah. She had it ready. Not fancy, not heavily branded. Just simple slides, workflows, timelines, a sample team roster with people she trusted, lean and mean.
And Maria's reaction?
Maria apparently looked at Laura and said, "You're underpaid, overqualified, and the only one I trust not to bullshit me."
Wow. That says it all.
Doesn't it? The pieces just clicked into place because Laura hadn't tried to force them. She let the relationship and Calerman's incompetence do the heavy lifting.
Okay, so fast forward. The inevitable finally happens. Thursday morning, 10:17 a.m. Laura gets that calendar invite.
Yeah, the ominous one. Subject, quick sync exec alignment, no agenda, mandatory attendance.
The classic signs.
Totally. Laura knew instantly. She said the vagueness felt curated, like a dinner party where you're the only one who doesn't know it's an intervention.
So what was the vibe when she walked into that room?
Oh, pure corporate execution squad. CEO Greg sporting his corporate grimace. Bryce perched at the head of the table like a frat boy. And HR Melanie with her lips pressed so tight they looked stapled.
Yikes. A welcoming committee.
Hardly. Greg launches into the corporate speak. Cultural alignment, agility, and future readiness. How legacy roles may not map to the direction we're scaling toward.
Translation. You're fired.
Exactly. Laura's internal translation was, "You're the past, I'm the pitch deck, goodbye."
So Melanie slides the separation agreement across the table. Standard procedure. What does Laura do? Does she argue? Plead?
Nope, not at all. Which clearly threw them off. With this unnerving calm, she just looks at them and asks, does it come with Bryce's conscience, or is that still on back order?
Nice parting shot.
Right. Then she picks up the pen, signs the agreement. Doesn't even read it.
Doesn't read it. Nope. Greg's eyes apparently flickered. You could almost see him thinking, why isn't she fighting this? Why isn't she begging?
And her internal thought.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Because I'd already packed. She had mentally checked out weeks, maybe months ago. This was just a formality. She was ready.
So she walks out, skips the elevator, takes the stairs, feeling, as she put it, each floor peel off me like old skin.
Poetic, isn't it?
Yeah. She gets down to her floor. Her desk is already boxed up, plants gone, mug missing, walks past a glass meeting room. Someone else is already sitting in her chair. Cold.
Brutal efficiency.
And then the lobby. The big reveal. Who's waiting for her?
Maria Patel, standing right there in the lobby, just looks at Laura and asks, "You hungry?"
Incredible timing. But it wasn't just timing, was it? There was more to it.
Oh, much more. Here's the kicker. Laura had a lunch scheduled with Maria that very day. It had been on the books for 3 weeks, visible on CEO Greg's shared calendar.
Yes, way. And nobody at Calerman, not Greg, not Bryce, not HR, had even bothered to ask Laura to cancel that lunch meeting with their $80 million client contact.
They were that arrogant. Or that incompetent.
Maybe both. That was Laura's huge aha moment. She realized, when people like Bryce think they're playing chess, they forget some of us invented the board. Maria wasn't just there by chance. She knew. She'd seen Laura's plan 2 weeks before. This whole firing, Calerman basically walked right into it. It was entirely self-inflicted.
Wow, so the firing happens. Laura walks out, meets Maria. what happens next? Calerman must have tried to fight back somehow, tried to intimidate her.
Oh, Bryce certainly tried. He fired off this urgent, unauthorized client communication email straight to Maria.
What did it say?
Claimed Laura was now legally restricted from contacting clients and that engaging with her was problematic, trying to scare Maria off.
And Maria's reaction.
Classic Maria. She just forwarded the entire email to Laura, no subject line, no comment, just forwarded it, the digital equivalent of a silent eye roll.
Love it. So Laura gets this, calls her lawyer.
Immediately. Calls Iris, who basically laughed. Confirmed Bryce was bluffing hard. California law makes non-competes unenforceable in this case, Iris said. Bryce does not want discovery. Meaning, he wouldn't want his internal mess exposed in a legal fight.
So the threat was empty.
Completely empty. A few days later, the official cease and desist letter arrived from Calerman's legal team. Formal, threatening.
And Laura.
Laura had just stuck a Post-it note on it saying, "Forward all further inquiries to my attorney," and mailed it right back to them.
Baller move.
She wasn't just legally protected anymore, she was legally emboldened. They had no leverage.
And this goes back to what Laura understood, right? That Calerman completely missed the point about client loyalty.
Absolutely. Laura said, "I didn't need to poach anyone. They were already walking toward me." She didn't send a single recruitment email, made no cold calls. She just started showing up quietly, being herself.
Can you give us some examples? How did this walking toward me actually play out?
Sure. There was Carla Tran, a VP at a logistics firm, one of Laura's old clients. Carla calls Laura, totally frustrated. Bryce's new team had sent her documents with like 4 typos, the wrong pricing.
Oh, dear.
And get this, a paragraph literally copy-pasted from their main competitor's website.
No, seriously.
Seriously. Carla said, "They even spelled my name wrong." That relationship was over. Who did she call? Laura.
Of course. Any others?
Yeah, Jackson Pham, another ex-client from Morewell Tech, he just messages Laura out of the blue on LinkedIn, says, "Hey, did you leave Calerman or did they finally implode? Either way, free for lunch next week."
Huh. Clients could see the writing on the wall.
Totally. The key insight here for you listening is that clients weren't loyal to the Calerman brand. They were loyal to Laura because she showed up when it rained, remembered their kids' names, treated them like partners, not revenue streams.
Right.
Bryce was learning the hard way that fake charm, corporate jargon, it doesn't scale, not when the foundation isn't genuine competence and care.
So Laura's out. She's setting up Dovetail. Clients are already gravitating towards her. And these quiet conversations start bringing more of Calerman's internal chaos to light.
Exactly. It wasn't just clients. Her old colleagues started reaching out, wanting in. Rena, the analytics lead, she called Laura, said, "You were the only reason I didn't lose my mind back there. Count me in."
The network activates.
Yep. And Jorge, the onboarding wizard whose visa got lost, he met Laura for coffee and slipped her this folded printout.
What was it?
Spreadsheet time logs, showing double entries, phantom meetings. Clear evidence Bryce's team was padding invoices. Jorge said it was so obvious he half expected to find LOL in the memo column.
Wow. Actual potential fraud.
Looked like it. But the real bombshell, an 11:47 p.m. call from Tia, a junior analyst still inside Calerman.
Like a night call. What happened?
Tia had accidentally left her Zoom running, and it auto-recorded a meeting where Bryce explicitly said something like, the invoice numbers just needed to look cleaner for a specific client.
Oh, my God. Direct evidence.
Undeniable proof. And Tia. She trusted Laura more than anyone left at Calerman, so she sent Laura the recording.
So Laura now has proof of potential billing irregularities, maybe even fraud.
Right, and that's when Laura realized I was no longer just a person with a plan, I was a magnet. And Calerman, they were metal filings waiting to jump. She had the clients, the team, and now the leverage.
Okay, this is all building. And it leads to Maria Patel making her big, decisive move.
Yes. Early one morning, Maria just shows up at the cafe where Laura often worked, walks in, sits down, says, "It's time."
It's time. Simple but powerful.
Totally. Maria had done her homework, reviewed Laura's formal proposal for Dovetail, ran it past Westville's legal and compliance teams. Everything checked out.
And Maria was clearly done with Calerman.
Absolutely fed up. She told Laura point blank, "I've never been more insulted by a vendor than I have in the last 2 quarters."
Ouch. So Laura presents the final plan.
Laura hands over this slim professional folder. Internal team structure, billing framework, onboarding roadmap, all built, as Laura put it, from the parts they left behind, the talented people Calerman discarded.
And the deal was done.
Quiet handshake right there in the cafe. No photos, no smiles, just ink on paper. It was, Laura felt, the quiet thud of an empire beginning. A partnership based on trust, not hype.
So, contract signed with Westville, Laura immediately starts building the Dovetail team officially.
Right away. Makes the calls. To Rena, to Jorge, 3 others, all people who'd slipped through the cracks at Calerman, people deemed redundant or not forward-facing enough by Bryce.
But people Laura knew were brilliant.
Exactly. She said she called them not for loyalty, but because they were brilliant, scarred maybe, but unshakable, real competence.
And what was the atmosphere like in those early days, setting up shop?
Sounds like classic startup hustle. They got a temporary co-working space. Apparently it smelled like ambition and Clorox. Wi-Fi was spotty, coffee was burnt.
Sounds about right.
But around that cheap conference table, Laura said it felt like breathing again. No ego, no posturing, just pure competence getting things done. They officially named the company Dovetail Solutions. Quietly. No press releases, no launch party. Just gotta work.
That focus is key. But then comes the public confrontation. This wasn't Laura's idea, was it?
No, this was Maria's masterstroke. Maria suggested Laura meet her in the Calerman lobby when Laura went back to pick up her final paperwork.
Why there? Why publicly?
Maximum impact. Maria even playfully asked Laura, should I wear red? Laura advised against it. Subtle is what got us this far.
Good call. So Laura walks back into the Calerman lobby. Must have felt strange.
She described it as walking back into a dream I'd already outgrown. Surreal.
And Maria makes her entrance.
Oh, yeah. Dramatic entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Leather heels tapping like war drums on tile. Everyone probably looked up.
And then Bryce shows up. Perfect timing.
Almost too perfect. Bryce appears, mid-strut, espresso in hand, probably feeling like king of the castle. His eyes land on Laura and Maria together, and Laura said, you could see it click. He knew something was up.
So what does Bryce do? He confronts them.
Loudly. Publicly. Points at Laura and yells, Laura, what the hell are you doing here? You need to stay away from our clients.
In the middle of the lobby.
In the middle of the lobby. Stops every head in the surrounding area. Dead silence.
The absolute audacity. And Maria's response, calm, I hope.
Ice cold. Calm as a lake before a hurricane, Laura described it. Maria looks Bryce dead in the eye and says, nice and clear. Actually, Bryce, I was just finalizing our new contract with her.
Pauses for effect. We're leaving you.
Oh, my God. You could hear a pin drop, I bet.
Laura said, somewhere down the hall, someone dropped a pen. Total silence. Utter shock.
And Maria's final words to Bryce.
Devastatingly simple. Bryce was probably stammering, like, you can't do this. And Maria just looked at him and said, I can, and I did. Then she handed Laura the signed transition plan for the Westville account, turned, and walked out. Boom.
Mic drop. Walk off.
Wow, just utterly dismantled him and
No.
Calerman right there in their own temple.
So the immediate aftermath inside Calerman must have been pure chaos.
Absolute pandemonium. Whispering started instantly. Did she say contract? Wait, Maria's account? Westville? Did they just lose Westville?
Panic stations.
You bet. Slack channels apparently lit up like a Christmas tree in a meth lab, full of passive-aggressive emojis, veiled chaos threads, screenshots flying around. Someone even publicly posted the official RFP, the request for proposal from Westville, formally inviting Dovetail Solutions LLC to take over. Just posted it internally.
Twisting the knife.
Bryce tried to spin it in some war room meeting, claiming Maria was coerced or something. But he had zero proof. He just looked desperate.
And the other dominoes started falling then, too. Other clients.
Carla Tran's company, the logistics firm, they formally terminated their retainer with Calerman days later, cited billing irregularities and a decline in operational integrity. Thanks, Jorge and Tia.
Wow, using the evidence.
A second major client left soon after, citing ethical misalignment. Partners inside Calerman started whispering about breach of fiduciary exposure, basically, legal risks for mismanagement, and started talking emergency vote, likely about Bryce's future or lack thereof.
So Calerman's leadership is panicking. Do they try to reach out to Laura? Maybe apologize? Damage control?
Laura's at home, literally slicing peaches and listening to Miles Davis, totally zen. She gets this email from Calerman HR asking for a meeting for clarification and mutual understanding.
Code for, please don't sue us, please don't expose us.
Exactly. Laura forwards it to Iris, her lawyer. Iris's reply was epic. All communication should go through counsel moving forward. Also, they're scared. Enjoy it.
Love Iris.
Meanwhile, CEO Greg holds this stumbling, disastrous all-hands call where Bryce apparently tried to blame interns for the client losses.
Oh, classy.
But the final nail. Maria's LinkedIn post, not angry, just this full-throated, beautifully restrained testimonial. praised true leadership, said it doesn't scream, it delivers, and proudly announced Westville's new partnership with Dovetail Solutions, led by the incomparable Laura Kaplan.
Public endorsement. That's powerful.
It basically hung a vacancy sign outside their ivory tower, as Laura put it, game over, and justice.
Yeah.
It came not with sirens, but with silence. The slow, quiet implosion.
But there was one last attempt from Calerman, wasn't there? A
Yeah.
final offer.
Yeah, this was the ultimate sign of their desperation. Scott Beltram, a senior partner still at Calerman, sends Laura a text message.
What did he want?
He said, "Some of us are tired of betting on the wrong horse." Then he made an offer. Calerman wanted to essentially white label their remaining client portfolio under Laura's Dovetail Solutions brand. They'd pay her a massive lump sum just to use her name and credibility to save themselves.
Wow, they wanted her to save them after everything they did. The nerve?
Incredible, right? And Laura's response, pure steel. She texted back something like, "You want to borrow my credibility because yours is in free fall? No thanks. I didn't walk through fire just to light your path." Total rejection.
Good for her. She built her own thing.
Exactly. She didn't need them. Her new office, a third-floor corner suite with high ceilings, minimalist, no clutter, no noise, just her desk, a bookshelf, a photo of her laughing team. And on the door, in vinyl, Laura Kaplan found her Dovetail Solutions.
Perfect.
Maria sent champagne with a simple note. "We made the right choice." And when that news alert finally popped up, longtime consultancy suffers mass client defection, insider says they bet on the wrong person. Laura just smiled.
The right kind of smile.
Yep. Not smug, not revenge-fueled, just the quiet satisfaction you feel when the war is over and you won big. She was, as she realized, the damn table now.
What an incredible story. Okay, let's pull out the core lessons here for you, the listener. Laura's journey is just packed with insights.
It really is, that sharp, dangerous quiet she adopted. It wasn't just about being calm under pressure. It was a masterclass in what we called preemptive data weaponization, systematically turning every slight, every email into documented leverage before you even need it.
Crucial. And her deep ties with clients like Maria. That wasn't just good relationship management. It showed how genuine connection can function as a redundant client acquisition channel. When the corporate structure fails, the personal relationship endures and can become the new structure.
Exactly. And that non-compete discovery in California, yes, it was about knowing the law, but the deeper principle for everyone, everywhere, is proactively auditing your contractual vulnerabilities. Don't wait until there's a crisis. Understand your agreements. Understand your local laws now. Turn potential weaknesses into strengths, or at least into known quantities.
And ultimately, she didn't win by tearing Calerman down, though they did a fine job of that themselves.
Right. She won by building something better. Something founded on competence, trust, and genuine relationships, not buzzwords and ego. The ultimate victory wasn't revenge, it was creation.
So that brings us to the final thought for you to chew on. Reflect on your own professional life for a moment.
Where might you be holding on to a perceived loyalty to a company, a boss, a system that might actually be blinding you to other opportunities, or maybe even to risks?
And thinking about Laura's quiet strategy, what steps could you take, starting today, even small ones, to secure your own water rights, so to speak, to make sure you're protected and maybe even positioned to thrive in case your current house catches fire?
It's about building your own foundation, quietly, consistently, before you ever need it. That's the real lesson from Laura Kaplan.